Hey girl, Marissa here. You are listening to the Codependummy podcast. As a young woman, you have been raised, reinforced, and rewarded for putting the needs of others above your own. Now, in your 20s, you're finding yourself exhausted, exasperated, and enveloped in shit relationships, especially the one you have with yourself. Codependency is a way of being where we put the feelings, wants, and needs of others above our own in an unconscious attempt to meet our own feelings, wants, and needs. Sorry to break it to you, sis, but that is not sustainable. This podcast is to help you undo all that so you can stop playing small and start taking up space, you dummy. Let's get to it. Hey girl, hey, it's your girl Marissa. Welcome to the Codependummy podcast, coming to you live from my parents' house. And given that I've recorded multiple solo casts recently at my parents' house, I'm curious if you're wondering whether I live at my parents' house, and I don't. I just happen to record when I'm here due to certain scheduling conflicts. So, clearing the air. And to forewarn you, I have Rex, my bonus dog Rex. He's sitting on my lap, stage 5 clinger today. And my family may come in after recording for some time. There may be some background noise. And I just appreciate you offering compassion to me and to them, because I am a podcaster living in the world I'm a podcaster living in the world. So let's start officially. I have been serenading you all recently, and I feel like serenading you again. So let me get some hot tea. And adding some more context, I just drank out of my Christmas cup. I'm wearing my ho 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 sweater that was given to me last year by my older sister. And for those of you listening, if you want to watch the episode, you can on YouTube. And I have Christmas lights for the filter. So we're just getting into the Christmas spirit. Have yourself a Codependummy Christmas is this episode's title. And now the serenade. Have yourself a Codependummy Christmas. Let your heart be heavy. From now on, others' troubles will be your levy. Get it? Your heavy heart, and a levy is a tax or an imposition, so other people's troubles will be your tax, your imposition. Sounds like Codependummy Christmas to me. Heavy heart, other people's troubles weighing on you. So I'm hoping that this episode will help empower you to not have that kind of Christmas. We ain't gonna let that happen this year, okay? Because today we are talking about codependency and Christmas, which can be applied to any holiday, every holiday that you celebrate, if Christmas is not one of them. So before we talk all things Christmas, let's check in by doing some grounding. Okay, we're going to ground ourselves into the present moment. Ground, like the ground. I remember I used to work in community mental health, and I told a child, let's do a grounding activity. And they were like, I'm not grounded. Oh man. Okay, so grounding, rooting, sensing your foundation, touching the ground underneath you. That is the goal of grounding. Okay, so everyone, let's take a deep inhale and deep exhale. To ground yourself today, right now, I'm going to have you tap into your 5 senses, where you can see, hear, taste, touch, smell. Okay. So first, I want you to, and we're gonna do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First, I want you to identify 5 things that you can see. Look around and list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For me, I see Rex, a lamp, my laptop, a microphone, and my cell phone. Those are things I can see in my periphery. Next, 4 things you can hear. Tune in to your hearing. What can you hear? I can hear Rex snoring. I can hear my voice. I can hear cars outside. And I honestly hear silence. It's very quiet right now. I can hear that. Next, 3 things you can feel or touch. I feel my ho 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 sweater on my body. I feel Rex's weight on my lap. And I can feel the blood flowing in my feet while I sit cross-legged and record. 3 things you can feel, you can touch. Next, 2 things you can smell. I can smell my peppermint tea. And I think I just smell house. I can smell the good candle heavy scent of my parents' house. And 2 things you can smell, or 2 things you can smell. And lastly, 1 thing you can taste. I can taste the peppermint tea. That is how you ground yourself in the present moment. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. Tuning into your 5 senses, I'm curious, how are you feeling, baby girl? How have you been feeling this last hour? How have you been feeling in general this day? How have you been feeling overall this week? It's important to check in and to keep checking in with how you are feeling, in hopes that by discerning how you feel, you can respond with care. You can tend to those feelings. 2 announcements. You know, it is almost January 1st. And if I were you, I would have gotten myself a copy of the Confiding Codependummy. Well, what's that? It is 30 days of journaling prompts for a less codependent and more conscious you. Unlike simply listening to the podcast, going to therapy, and doing all the self-care that you already do, I would have already gotten, and I'm telling you to get the Confiding Codependummy because it was made with my love and wisdom to help you truly become aware of your codependency at a deep, deep level. In the Confiding Codependummy, in these journaling prompts, I have questions to help you understand how your codependency started, what it truly looks like today, internally and externally, and what you need to do to heal. These are very important questions to ask yourself. And the Confiding Codependummy really looks at the past, present, and future of your codependency. Potentially, if you want to make it through the holidays by committing to journaling every day, you can order a copy today and start. Or you can order a copy now and match day 1 with January 1st to make 2022 the year of the codependent, right? So go to codependummy.com/tools for healing, and you can purchase and get a copy of the Confiding Codependummy today for the equivalent of $1 a day for the next 30 days. It's $30, $1 a prompt. And some listeners who've gotten it, I have heard back, and holy shit, they are having breakthroughs. Holy crap, they have so much content, right? So much writing, so much journaling that they are bringing to therapy to talk more in depth about their codependency. Holy poop, they are, through these 15 minutes of writing a day, creating shifts and setting boundaries, improving relationships throughout their day, week, month. Right? I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's the same thing. I'm biased because I'm a therapist, but I don't know what it is about those 60 minutes you spend in therapy a week, how that turns into all this progress throughout the week, month, year. I don't, it's magic, but it's the Confiding Codependummy. It's focused, it's deliberate, it's intentional investigation into your codependency. So codependummy.com/tools for healing to get your copy today. And while you're on the website, you can download a copy of the 30-day self-validation challenge for free. Honestly, if you get both of those, I don't know what your codependency is going to think. It might start worrying that you're, oh shit, this girl's empowering herself to stop playing small and start taking up space. What are we going to do? She might move beyond us. Me. Yes, I'm talking about codependency like it's a thing, which it is. So that's the first announcement. Second announcement. Thank you to those of you who have been leaving ratings. I see the ratings are up, as in the number of ratings are up, and the ratings. Thank you for your 5 stars, your generous 5 stars. Thank you to those who have written a review, and those of you who have shared the podcast with someone who needs to hear it. Okay. For those of you who haven't, please keep those ratings, those reviews, and those shares coming. If you don't know how to leave a rating, I have a quick tutorial, which I'll put in the show notes. The video, I believe, is 2 minutes, and I literally hold my phone up and point to where you need to go. And why? Marissa, why are you asking me to leave a rating, review, and to share? Well, it helps me help you help other struggling codependummies. When they type codependency into Apple, into Spotify, into YouTube, thanks to your ratings, reviews, and shares. Oh shit, I forgot subscriptions. Subscriptions matter too. So subscriptions, we pop up, girl. We pop up, and we don't have to waste time looking at other content that maybe isn't as applicable as this podcast. Right, Rex? Right. So rating, review, share, subscribe. 4 steps. Okay, enough of that. Let's take a little tea break. Everyone has tea, water, hydrate, ladies. Thirsty. Felt that need. And we're going to talk about Christmas. I want to begin with a review on my working definition of codependency. I think you all know this, but a working definition means it's being worked out. Okay, this is what I've come up with, grasped thus far in creating the podcast, coming on a year. So we're going to review the definition, my working definition of codependency. We're going to relate it to the Christmas holiday, and then tie in some work from my man, Alfred Adler, my recent beau, who is a psychotherapist, medical doctor, OG from 100 years ago, who was spouting all this wisdom about boundaries and codependency before the terms boundaries existed, but boundaries in today's context, before that term and codependency even existed. And we will then conclude with a 4-step, 4-part guide to survive the holiday. In hopes it will help you navigate this holiday like the budding interdependent diamond that you are. The definition of codependency: a way of being where one puts the thoughts, feelings, and needs of others above their own in an unconscious attempt to fulfill one's own thoughts, feelings, and needs. And for example, we have these rules that we live by as codependents. I will be uncomfortable, so you will be comfortable, ... in hopes that eventually, potentially, I'll be comfortable too. That is our way of being in the world most of the time. So how does this relate to Christmas? Potentially, as codependents, as codependummies, we can spend this holiday like we do most of our lives, but it's just turbo, super, hyper codependency on steroids. With the Christmas holiday, we can put the thoughts, feelings, and needs of others above our own due to a sense of obligation, a slave to tradition, out of fear of being rejected, judged by others, or potentially a desire to be a martyr. Right? All the things I'm doing for all the people. Am I good now? Do you love me? In the depths of my codependency, Christmas was not fun. When I first heard the term Stressmas, it resonated. And let's look back at some memories that contributed to my being during Christmas that led to it being more like a Stressmas. Shall we? Growing up, Christmas was a big deal in my family. It meant being good for Santa, going to sit on Santa's lap, which my twin sister actually hated. So I have multiple pictures without her and with my older sister, because twin did not want to go and sit on that man's lap. I digress. Christmas meant going to Mass with my family, having a Christmas Eve dinner with my family, eating homemade and eventually store-bought tamales from my grandma and my mom. Christmas meant tons of presents on Christmas Day, going to my aunt's house for more presents, and then eating, playing, eating, and playing. I sense that because my mom grew up in the projects, in the desert, and my dad was one of 6, that they both strived to make Christmas special for me and my sisters. And I am very, very grateful for that. My parents have been and continue to be very generous on Christmas and in general. And I strive to emulate that in my adulthood. That part of the Christmas spirit, trying to make it better and fun and really child-centered. Now, with their striving, especially my mother's, I have memories of her doing all the things for all the people. She not only coordinated everything I mentioned before, but my mother baked all the cookies, dozens of varieties of cookies, and dozens of those varieties. She made homemade tamales by herself when I was little. She decorated the house to perfection. She hand wrote Christmas cards, and she added confetti to all of them. So when people opened them, confetti came out and it was funny. She wrapped all the presents and did so many things. I can't remember to list them all at this present moment. She did a lot. And my dad, it's kind of like mom was Santa and my dad was Mrs. Claus. So he helped, but she was the deliverer of the gifts. She was the focal point. She really led Christmas. And in hindsight, I personally would categorize it as too much. But it was what she sensed was needed at the time, evidently. And she was doing the best she could, knowing what she knew. And honestly, she did an amazing job every year, given that she had 3 daughters, a husband, extended family, a job, gifts for coworkers, gifts for family friends, parties, like the works. And year after year of watching this, right? Being a little girl, becoming an adolescent, teenager, 20-something, I sense that, and I categorize it as too much because at certain moments, she snapped. She would warn that Santa wasn't coming if we weren't being good. It was scary. She would yell at my dad. She'd get in an argument with my grandma, and they'd stop talking for a couple days. Moments like that. I sense that everything she and my dad were doing, it was too much. And being the budding codependent that I was, and unconsciously, right? Not consciously, but I sensed that I believed I could control the environment. I could make sure Santa came no matter what. I could intervene in a manner that would negate her having to yell at my dad. And I could foster positive interactions between her and my grandma so they wouldn't have to argue. And then I'd feel good, right? So, I wonder if I meet this lady's needs and my dad, if I meet my dad's needs right now around the holidays, then my need for peace, for security, for cohesion, those will all be met. Not conscious, but very perceptive, Marissa. And this resulted in me helping, and hurting the Christmas situation. Examples. So I recall clearly begging my twin sister to not get up yet to open our presents because I knew that my mom had stayed up late, my dad had stayed up late, wrapping all of them, and I knew they were tired. Oh my God, I remember my twin, like she couldn't wait. She couldn't wait to see what we had gotten. And we were laying, we had a pull out. So I was in this little bed next to her. And I remember I was like, no, wait. And yeah, right. Sensing that if I can control this, if I can contribute to my parents sleeping more, they won't be as grouchy, grumpy, short the next day. And then I'll feel better. Not conscious, but this is the codependent strategy. I recall one Christmas staying up really late in like early hours of the morning, helping my mom bake all the cookies. And yeah, I would want to say it was because I wanted to help, but I think it was, I'll help my mom now so she won't feel so helpless in a couple hours and be grumpy, grouchy, short tomorrow. It was from a place of fear, a place of anxiety, not genuine help. I have memories of refereeing my parents' arguments in the car, before mass, etc., to calm their arguing. And yeah, like let me stop this fight, let me intervene so they don't keep fighting and I keep feeling dysregulated by this tension. Right? So helping in a sense, and then hurting is I would take on the tension, I would take on the stress, and I'd binge. I've talked with you guys about my binge eating, compulsive eating, body image, weight issues, and I'd binge and then I'd be completely out of commission to truly help out. I would get annoyed and sarcastic and condescending, and I'd try and dissuade my mom from taking on these tasks. You don't have to send cards. So stupid. Cards. Ugh. And my sisters and I, we'd pick fights and we'd keep fighting when it wasn't necessary. And I sense that ultimately, big picture, in recent years, I have criticized my mom and my dad for these traditions, these obligations. And I'm like, you're not being present. But if I'm binging and arguing and judging, I don't sense that I'm being present either. I'm curious, as I take the sip of tea, what has Christmas been like for you growing up, baby girl? Do you sense either of your parents or family members prioritized the thoughts, feelings, and needs of others too much? Too far beyond their own, right? An unconscious attempt to fulfill their own thoughts, feelings, and needs. How did that impact you? How did you cope with that? Did you help more like I did? Did you withdraw other times like I did? Or respond somewhere in between? Right? What has tradition, obligation, Christmas meant for you and your family? I think Rex is having a dream. That's why he's breathing weird. And I'm not entirely sure why my mom and dad did and continue to do all these things. I don't know. That's their task, their meaning, their motives, to be clear on. But I know a main reason why I, as a young woman, did and do certain things around the Christmas holiday. Well, I guess two reasons is a need for approval. If I do these things, I'll win favor. And that need for calm, trying to avoid the fight, avoid the argument, avoid the tension. Right, when I was little, speaking of approval and fear, right? Fear of not getting approval. I needed my mom and dad's approval. I needed Santa's approval. But by being so sensitive, so perceptive, so wanting to control, I prioritized the thoughts, feelings, and needs of others above my own in hopes that it would fulfill my needs for approval, my need for calm, and it never worked. Well, it didn't never work, because why would I keep doing it? But it rarely worked, and it rarely worked long term. When I heard the term Stressmas, it resonated because this codependent manner of being applied to Christmas, it's ineffective, unsustainable. So for me, in recent years, I sense that Christmas has improved because I am not as afraid to lose the calm, and I'm not needing others' approval. Recently, my two sisters, they have been very contentious around Christmas. And I empathize with the tension, with their conflict. I have tried to assist in their making up. And also, I am just not a target of the conflict. My mom and I, we too, she would yell or snap, and sometimes we would get into arguments. That hasn't happened. And I sense I help with discernment. It's not perfect, okay? If you talk to my mom or sisters or my dad, I don't know if they would be saying the same thing. But I am not in these blow-ups. I'm not in these fights that happen. And it's not Stressmas. It's not. It's Christmas for me. Alfred Adler discusses how to let go of the need for approval. Very simply, you deny the need for approval. You let it go. In his writings, he discusses, well, why is that one should deny the need for approval? As a result of my hopes of being accepted, approved of, appreciated by another, my being under the sway of the need for their approval will, Adler says, before I know it, I will be living a life that conforms to other people's wishes. In other words, I will be living another person's life. I am not living my life. I'm not living my Christmas when I'm doing things to control the behavior of other people. Arguably, I'm living under the control of other people when I'm so focused on them and doing what I sense will avoid an argument, avoid tension, avoid rejection. Adler adds that a person does not fulfill someone else's expectations. Being constantly concerned about how one is judged by others, one can no longer live one's own life. Becomes a way of living that is no longer free. If one hopes to find freedom, one must not seek approval. Thus, to be free, my dear sweet codependummy, to find freedom this Christmas and every Christmas, every damn day for that matter, you need to stop seeking approval of others and stop fearing other people's reactions. I can't keep seeking it. I can't keep basing my behavior off how others will respond. Not like respond to me, but like respond in general. So I can't go and help out with the cookies. So my mom will respond, will behave in a calm manner. That's not free. That's not freedom. And I can't seek others' approval through what I do, where I go, what I buy, how I look, all of it. And you either. And my mom just warned me, they will be here in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Let's see how loud it is. The 4-part holiday survival guide to let go of control. That's what it is, right? Trying to control the narrative on how I'm perceived, how Christmas goes, how other people's Christmas go. And we just gotta let it go. 4 parts. First part, let go of the need for approval. Second, separate tasks. Third, remember it's all optional. And fourth, make the meaning. We already talked about letting go of approval. So second is separate tasks. Remember that episode? Yes, growing up, I wanted and needed to help my mom. However, now, technically speaking, as a semi-grown-ass woman, those are her tasks. Remember, we can assist people with their tasks, but ultimately, anything that anyone decides to do or not do, it's their task, and they deal with the consequences of taking on that task. If my mom and dad do too many things this holiday season, if my mom and dad get stressed, if my mom and dad yell and argue, it's their task to deal with their tasks that they've taken on. It's my task to deal with the situation as best I know how. How do I deal with the conflict going on right now? That's my task, not to take on their tasks out of a sense of obligation. In his writings, Adler states that intervening in other people's tasks and taking on other people's tasks turns one's life into something heavy and full of hardship. The Codependummy Christmas, let your heart be heavy, let other people's troubles be your levy. That was our reality. It doesn't have to be anymore. Adler adds, if you are leading a life of worry and suffering, which stems from your interpersonal relationships, learn the boundary. From here on, that is not my task. And discard of other people's tasks. He wrote that like 100 years ago. So smart. That is the step to lightening the load and making life simpler, right? Step 2, part 2, separate tasks. You may be thinking, but Marissa, I will be disowned. My dad will cry. The cookies won't get sugared. The children What about the children? Their presents. It pains me to encourage you, as it pains me to imagine the consequences of relinquishing other people's tasks to others in my own life. But technically speaking, our key to freedom this holiday is separate the tasks. Be disowned. Let your dad cry. Let the sugar cookies go unsugared, and the children can enjoy their present wrapped however it's wrapped. Or no present because the person who's supposed to get it didn't get it. Ugh, it's rough. It's rough. I don't know what's beyond it. I'm working on this too. And I will admit, my friend, she highlighted this to me. I didn't separate tasks. So my husband was supposed to get a flu shot because my nephew's born, and we have to have flu shots to be around him, or it's suggested to have a flu shot to be around him. And he didn't get it in time to meet him when he was born. Thankfully, he got it recently, so he will be able to be with all of us when we're together for Christmas. He got it because I eventually hounded him to get it. Because I don't want to celebrate Christmas without you there. And my friend highlighted that. She was like, what would it have been like to say after that deadline passed, after that timeline passed, a couple days later, to say, you didn't get your flu shot, so you won't be able to come while the baby's there. I will let you know when I grow the ovaries to do that. I'll share. I have grown the ovaries. I will share more stories. And having those ovaries more often will be helpful. Last 2 steps, 2 parts. Remember, it's optional. Girl, Christmas is optional. It may not feel like it, but this whole holiday and everything that comes with it is OPTIONAL. Say it with me, optional. First and foremost, you don't have to attend Christmas. You do not have to go. You have the option to go or not go. Second, you don't have to stay. You can stay or not stay if you decide to go. You can leave early. You can leave for some time and go to the store. You can take a break and call your best friend. You can go for a walk and listen to this episode. You can go to the bathroom for too long. Take your time in the bathroom. It's okay. You don't have to stay the whole time. Family's coming in. We're almost done. Third, you don't have to make anything. You maybe can't buy your grandma's famous cookie recipe at the store, but you can buy a lot of stuff at the store. You can buy a lot of other cookies at the store and food at the store. You can buy all of it. You don't have to make anything. Fourth, Speaking of buying, it's okay, Rex. You don't have to buy anything. You could simply gift others with your presence. Your presence could be the present. And, your presence is a present for me. So, and if you do buy others stuff, you can buy what fits your budget. You do not have to feel under obligation to equal the gift, to bring fairness to the purchase. There is no Christmas court like Judge Judy where you go because you spent less than someone else. You can purchase and spend based off what you sense is best. Fifth, you have autonomy with everything that's Christmas related. If you're struggling to decide to go somewhere, to do something, to stay, to buy something, I want you to remember my twin sister who refused to sit on Santa's lap. Despite all the other kids that were doing it, she would not do it. And Rex is freaking out, so I'm gonna down. And I am going to let him out really quick. Let me pause this. All right, Rex is reunited and we're good to go. You have autonomy. You have it. You don't think that you have it. You don't feel like you have it, but technically, girl, you have it. And let's have a sip of tea. Fourth part, make the meaning. Perspective matters. Your perception, your perspective of all of the Christmas holiday matters. And you can make Christmas mean whatever you want it to. Not necessarily what society, your family, or your friends say it is. It does not have to be Stressmas. We are semi-grown-ass women, and we get to be how we choose to be. It can be a time to prioritize our thoughts, feelings, and needs above others. We can balance our thoughts, feelings, and needs with the thoughts, feelings, and needs of others. Or we can decide to prioritize others' thoughts, feelings, and needs above our own. One perspective of Christmas could be like what I witnessed growing up, baking all the cookies, sending all the cards, doing all the things for all the people. Excuse me, that could be what Christmas means. It could also mean buying cookies, not sending cards, and doing some things for some people while discerning not doing some things for others. Christmas, when you think about it, could mean that you get presents and give presents. You go to multiple parties and gatherings. You don't have to go to work, hopefully, all to celebrate someone else's birthday. This is not even your birthday. This is none of your, actually one of your family members might be born on Christmas, but the celebration of Christmas is on Jesus Christ's birthday. We get like a whole other birthday. And we also get presents from Santa Claus, who our parents work very hard to not take credit for. And families travel across the world to see each other on this day. Christmas means so much good food and so many good drinks and parties. And if it's been fucked up and codependent and bullshit your whole life, you can make it mean whatever you want now. I could easily fall back into old behaviors this holiday season: overeating, overhelping, worrying about keeping the peace in my family. Or I can assist when I discern it's best to assist. I don't have to do all the things. I don't have to do none of them. You don't have to do all the things. You don't have to do none of them. If you do decide to do certain things, certain Christmas traditions, then do them. And if you don't, then don't do them. I just invite you to bring more consciousness into it all, as opposed to running on Codependummy Christmas pilot, running on autopilot, Codependummy pilot, and maintaining traditions and patterns and cycles that take a toll on you, your body, your relationships, that lead to a lack of freedom, a lack of autonomy. 4 parts to review: let go of the need for approval, separate tasks, remember it's all optional, make the meaning yourself. Merry Codependummy Christmas to you all, and to all a good night. I will see you next week. Hey girl, it's Marissa again. I'm not like a regular podcaster, I'm a cool podcaster, right? Thank you for listening and staying till the end. You can find me on Instagram at Therapy with Marissa. Email me, marissa@codependummy.com. Check out codependummy.com for more information on the show. And baby girl, a subscribe, rating, and review would be much appreciated. Till next time, I want you to remember, if you are feeling unseen, I see you. If you are feeling unheard, I hear you. And if you think that you don't matter, know that you matter to me. I want you to go out there so you can stop playing small and start taking up space, you dummy. And now, the disclaimer. Girl, this is not therapy and I am not your therapist. This podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regards to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, publisher, or guests are rendering any legal, clinical, or other professional service. If you want or need a professional, please find one.